Yeah, I'm recording it on my end for you as well, just in case gremlins.
Yes, gremlins. Excellent. So, oh God, that was frustrating.
I know. I couldn't help. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know how to fix this.
Yes, and we all know that we like to be Mrs. Fix-It for each other and everyone else who comes along.
Exactly. That's right.
So I'm just going to set the scene again, and hopefully people can, actually I might even pin that comment and let's see if that happens. Woohoo! Alrighty. So the context here is, which I've started talking about, is I'm really good at offline marketing. So give me the opportunity to talk to somebody, whether it's from the stage, in a group, one-on-one, in a small group, in a fairly large group. Fairly large groups aren't my thing, but I can do that. Oh, Jen's coming. Yeah, Jen. I am going to mute you, however. So I can do that, and I can talk and help people understand. And I think that's born out of my skills as a rehabilitation counsellor and a qualified coach, because what it does is it allows me to read not only the verbal language, but also the non-verbal language. Yep. Yeah. And I've realized how much I rely on the non-verbal language to help me plan what I'm going to say next. I rarely listen to the words. I listen to the other bits that, which is probably what makes me an excellent clinician and coach. So I've tended to really struggle with writing online. And I know everybody says, just picture your ideal client. And just picture this person and just picture that person and just talk to, hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah, surprise. So all of you who didn't realize that you were actually going to be,
You can hide your cameras, guys. You don't need to be.
You can. But I'm just
there and make that. I know which camera I'm looking at.
Oh, God, that's all right. I'm just going to mute a few people as well. Where did Beck go? There she is. Hi, awesome, wonderful Beck.
And maybe it might be a good idea if that perhaps the other cameras are off. Mm-hmm. In time, I get really distracted.
Okay.
What's Jen doing?
Excellent. Thank you, ladies, for following me. And anyway, okay, so so where I've really struggled is how do I get the same level of communication, knowledge, and skill across when it just feels like a really one-dimensional platform when I'm writing. And I've done a lot of work on this. I love writing, and most of my written content is how I speak. And that was probably some of the best advice I ever got, which was just speak. So I just spoke, and then I churned out blogs. But what we discovered is whenever I go to put together a sales page or an invitation to an event, that I get all caught up in my head. Surprise, surprise. And I start falling back on my clinical knowledge and skills and start talking about process, and rather than pain, objections, and outcomes. So we had this really awesome opportunity where I worked really hard on some online copy and a whole heap of emails that supported the online copy. And then I shared it with the likes of Nicola and Kelly. And for those of you who don't know, Kelly is the awesome editor who is helping me with my book. So she understands a thing or two about writing. And I posted, and I was so proud of this moment that I posted and shared this sales page with people. And Kelly came back with like 3 or 4 very long paragraphs of how it made no sense to her. And my initial reaction was I wanted to reach through whatever screen I was looking at and strangle her. Then I wanted to cry. Then I wanted to hide and pretend that it never happened. And I probably did do the hiding thing for about 2 weeks, to be honest. I felt like a failure. I felt like a fraud. After all, I help people do this. But that's an issue that Nicola's going to speak into in a moment. So I thought, what a great opportunity to help clinicians understand the mistakes that I made that are easily fixed, and some of the process that Nicola took me through, because Nicola has refined it and it's so much better. Like sorry. It's and it's not like you reinvented my event. You didn't reinvent my process. All you did was ask me questions and pulled out of my head the answers that people were seeking.
Yeah. So before you go any further, I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
Excellent.
So we've been talking about the sales page for the event. Can you just share what this actually is before we launch into what we changed and tweaked so that people have got an understanding of what we're even
talking about? Yep, that's a really good idea. Thanks, Nicola. Right. So I have a process that starts off with a 2-day event in Sydney. It's called the Success Masterclass Series. Now, it used to be called the Success Mindset Masterclass, but one of the things Nicola helped me understand is it's not a 2-day event, it's an 8-week event. It starts with 2 days in the room, but it actually goes for 8 weeks. Nowhere in my educational copy did it say that. Apparently, people reading it were going to just work that out. So what I have understood over the gazillion years, 20 years that I've been working with people and the last 8 years working with clinicians, is that we all talk about wanting to be successful, but nobody spends the time working out what that means. And there's not a lot of help around to actually understand how you're self-sabotaging and what's getting in the way. So I have refined this process. It doesn't mean you'll be perfect, but it means you'll end up with a lot more tools, knowledge, and abilities to actually work out when you're self-sabotaging, how to get over yourself, what are the barriers you have to achieving success, but actually working out what that success is going to be for you. So most people, when they think of success, they go, I want more money. But then money isn't the definition of success. It's what can money do that allows you to feel successful. So most of us want to feel free. So how are you going to experience freedom? So most people then attribute having more money to being free. I can tell you, as somebody who runs a clinical practice with lots of moving parts that makes a lot of money in a given year, it doesn't feel free. There are days where I just don't feel free. So we spend time really pulling apart what are our criteria and definitions of success, and then building a lifestyle, not just a business, but a lifestyle that allows you to experience that, work towards that, and get out of your own way. That's what we're talking about. But that's not what I said in my original marketing material.
No, like it was interesting, Joe, as a result of the feedback from Cal and from a couple of other mediums as well, she showed me this sales page, and we've gone, okay. let me get my fingers.
Yes.
So the process, I guess, like we've got, Joe's brilliant at doing what she does. You guys have been following her. You know that. You know that if you rock up in her room, virtual or otherwise, she's going to help you. You're going to get value. You're going to experience transformation. That's a given, right? So we wanted to be able to have that power of, I guess, of people being able to see, oh, wow, this is what I'm going to get out of it from when they're viewing a sales page. And that first one didn't, like, from what you said, Joe, like that, it didn't do that. There was lots of words, lots of words, and then some more words.
But it was helpful. Everybody needed to understand everything.
That's right. And, you guys do need to understand everything, and that's fine. But I guess one of the big things that for most people's marketing is that they're talking about what they're going to do for people rather than focusing on the audience and how they're feeling and the problems that are going to be solved. So one of the very first questions I said to Joe was, okay, what do you want to do? She actually said to me, I need to adjust the landing page. Okay. I agree. And then the next question was, all right, what are the 3 biggest problems that your audience are having that we're going to be solving throughout this masterclass, which is what it was still called at that point in time? And then I said, hang on a second, this is not just a 2-day event. This is like 8 weeks of support following. There's more training. There's like all of this stuff. I said, this is more like a series than just a 2-day thing. So we need to stop talking about it like it's a 2-day event, because it doesn't just, kind of stop there. So that's how the name changed. But then, so I said, okay, so what are the 3 biggest problems that you're having? Or that your audience is having? And Joe said,
well, overwhelm. Overwhelm is probably the thing people speak to me about all the time. Not being able to see the forest for the trees, not knowing the right thing to do at the right time. And just this sense of I'm never good enough. Nothing I do is ever good enough. I'm ambitious and I'm driven and I set goals, but I'm always feeling like I'm failing, and I'm just terrified that somebody is going to find out. Ha! There you go. Or, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So we had, we probably chatted for about half an hour, I reckon, around the problems that, that the audience that we're looking at getting into the room around what they were feeling. And what we ended up, I'm going to steal one of Kelly's words, the way that how we distilled, or what we came out with at the end of that conversation was around feeling overwhelmed, definitely. And perhaps Jen and Beck and Cal, you might experience this at different times as well. And those of you watching the recording of it, being stuck with what to do next, how to do the next thing, what to do. Is this the right thing to do? What is the process around how to get to that next step? And then just getting kind of stuck. I think you said before, John, the forest in the trees stuff, like just so much stuff to do. So that was that one big thing. And the next one that you mentioned was around the fear of burnout.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. So many clinicians, for me, that's hilarious. I forgot that. It's interesting for me when I'm talking to clinicians every week, they're not, the 2 biggest fears that clinicians have is reputation management and fear of burnout. The money thing, it's like, it's nice to have, but really, if I have to choose, don't let me burn out and don't let my reputation be malaligned or maligned.
Yes.
But you're right. Burnout is the thing that comes up all the time. It's the thing that paralyzes people. I can't burn out. It's like burnout is this some great big mystical thing that nobody ever recovers from, which is rubbish. Yeah.
So we looked at all of that, and like for those of you who are needing to market yourselves in terms of clients and things like that, the thing that we always want to be thinking about is what are the problems that we're solving throughout this thing that we're positioning. Doesn't matter whether it's a book, a white paper, a webinar, a Facebook event, a workshop, a masterclass series. You always got to be thinking, all right, what are the problems that are being solved? Because that's the things that are going to get people to move usually and choose to solve the problem that they're having. So the next question that I think I asked you is, what are the reasons, or what are the things that people are saying? Like, what's the actual language that people are saying? And I'm looking at some of my notes that I took from the conversation. Was like, what if I can't cut it?
Yes.
Why does this look so easy for everyone else? What else are people saying, Joe, about like this making stuff happen, building practices or getting themselves out there or building clients or building referral networks? What else is holding them back?
Well, this whole concept of I'm supposed to do it for free. So as clinicians, and we still have universities here in Australia and in the US, because new graduates are telling me this, where the clinical streams inside of universities for all disciplines are saying things like, it doesn't matter if you get paid, you have to help the people first. That is the words people are hearing. And I remember being in that. It's like, yeah, so we're built from, almost, psychology 101 to be martyrs for the cause. So there's this tension that we have around, I need to put food on the table. I want to pay for my kids' education. Am I allowed to own my own home? Can I take time off? Should I be asking for a higher wage? Can I actually charge what other people are charging with this? People tell me they can't afford to pay. People, and I'm supposed to help everybody, and I'm supposed to help everybody all the time, and the cost to me is negligible. So you can see why burnout becomes such a big issue, because we're supposed to be helping all the people all the time. Whether or not we get rewarded for that, we're supposed to just do it. So that's a tension. Now, that's one of those unspoken problems that it's not until I actually put light on it that people go, well, yeah. Then there's this, well, it's easy for that person because they live in a wealthy suburb, or it's easy for that person because, yeah. So then they start playing into this psychographic demographic, which is rubbish, because it's all about marketing and knowing your ideal client. And if you haven't met me before, I say things as I see them. I am black and white. I'm fairly blunt, and I'm highly opinionated, except when it comes to writing sales page copy. There's also this incredibly false belief that if we do good work as clinicians, people will just find out and that'll be good enough. That promoting ourselves, actively telling people that we do something and we do it well is not okay. And I think in Australia and in Scandinavia, we've got the extra whammy. We've actually got cultural problems that you're not supposed to be the tall poppy. I'm not going to try and explain the Danish word for it because I've actually forgotten the pronunciation. But basically, everybody's the same in Denmark. Nobody is better than anyone else. So for us as health professionals, we've always taught that it's the client's process. It's the client's journey. We're just facilitators of said journey. Therefore, we cannot take any pride in the work that we do because it's all about the client.
Which is probably not a very resourceful mindset when you're thinking, right, well, I want to build a business or a practice, whether it's inside someone else's practice or your own, but you want to get more clients, you want to have a bigger impact, you want to make stuff happen and change lives, like you've got to be able to take pride in what you're doing.
And the way we consume healthcare has changed as well. So back in the day, so my parents' day, so the baby boomers crossing over to the non-baby boomers, whatever they are, Gen X, that's me. We all went to a medical professional and we treated them like God. So every medical, whatever the GP said, whatever the specialist said, we did not ever doubt them. Then came Dr. Google.
Yes.
So now consumers of healthcare or consumers of any treatment are incredibly well positioned to go and research. So they want to know that we're going to be, that what we're recommending is going to work for them. So we can't rely on our past experience of patients because, number one, we're not allowed to use testimonials. Number two, we're not allowed to ask for recommendations from past clients. It's illegal. We can be deregistered for that. It's not okay for me to just have all of these testimonials from colleagues in the industry because they've never been treated by me. Because if they were treated by me, I couldn't have a testimonial. So consumers want to know my reputation. They want to know I've got a decent bedside manner. They want to know that I know what I'm doing. But we have no way of them being able to tell prospective clients. So that whole level of social proof is removed for us.
Yeah.
It's gone. So if I'm not promoting myself and if other clinicians aren't promoting themselves, then who's doing it for us?
Yeah, exactly.
Ta-da! That's Nicola. That's what she helped me do.
Which, guys, like, as an aside, this is almost the exact conversation that we had like Friday morning a couple of weeks ago, right? So Joe's talking to me about all of this stuff and I'm taking notes and things like that in order to be able to really understand what's going on in an audience's head, right? With Joe is being the voices for that. I think some of the other things that you brought up a couple of weeks ago that were really interesting, and actually on that note, was that your audience, the people that you help, Joe, they don't want to be seen as a sleazy salesperson, which
Oh God, yes.
Marketing thing that you're talking about.
Absolutely. Because that who wants to be seen as a sleazy salesperson? Like, seriously, nobody wants that. And health professionals, we definitely don't want that, because if we are over persuasive, then we're perceived as being manipulative. If we're being manipulative, then we're not actually doing the right thing by our client. So that feeds right into everybody's fear about reputation management.
Yes, exactly, which was actually the very next thing that you said. You know, around like getting, like being ethical, being professional, being understood, and without the slime and the sleaze and the stuff that can often be associated, like almost by default, around marketing and around sales.
Absolutely.
So when like when we're going through this whole conversation around it, and then you talked about the hamster wheel and we mentioned burnout. Oh, and then the other thing that we talked about that was really important was around the cycle around client generation and things like that. Can you just touch on that a little bit? Because that was a really big thing that ended up in the final thing.
Yeah. So what we all get motivated and we want to go and generate new clients, and we learn how to do that and we bring new clients on board. Then we have to service them. Then we spend all of our time in delivery and servicing and income generation and all of that awesome stuff that we forget that we need to refill the new clients coming through the door. So what I see happen is this incredible boom, bust, stop, start cycle, and it's exhausting. So if anyone has ever launched anything, you know how much you're invested in that thing, how much time, effort, energy, lack of sleep, caffeine goes into launching something. Even when it's not so great, you still do all of that stuff. Yeah. So to actually go through maybe 3 weeks, so you get enough clients coming in, and then clients start having really good outcomes, and you can see that maybe in 2-3 weeks time they're not going to need you anymore, because isn't that the goal? We help people recover. They don't need us forever. So then you start freaking out going, how the hell am I supposed to fit in all this extra marketing? I haven't got the energy to do this again. So we've got this wheel where we're just constantly relaunching, remarketing, and it's like trying to launch a freaking jet. I know, because this is what I did online for so long, which is why I am the offline queen, because I don't find it so difficult when I'm doing it offline. Anywho, so yes, that's what I meant by that. Great point.
Awesome. So when we were talking about this, again, because this is all about the masterclass series that's coming up in the next few weeks? 24th, yeah. Is that right?
Yep, 24th of May we start. Well, the 24th of May, 25th and 26th is when the in-room event is, and then we've got 8 weeks post that.
Yeah, awesome. So when we were looking at that, I guess from the sales page perspective and autopsying that, the next big thing that we looked at is, okay, we need to talk to you guys. It's not just about having almost like a billboard, right? It was around, talking to. So one of the things that I've written on here, I'm just going to read my notes for a sec. You're in a practice of your own, or you're in someone else's, and you're driven about delivering exceptional service, but without burning out. So one of the things that we can think of is we want X without Y, or we want to be able to build A without B. So we want to get more clients, but we don't want to constantly be on the marketing wheel. Yes. We want to be able to deliver exceptional service and be able to promote ourselves without feeling like a sleazy salesperson or a trashy internet marketer, or anything like that, or like a fraud.
Yes. That's even better. That's a great word. Let's go back and re-edit the copy and put that in there. Woo! See, and I guess that's a really good point too, because I always thought, like, I love to achieve a goal or achieve something and finish it and park it and done and let it do its thing. But with marketing copy, it's always refine, test, measure, refine. So once I finished a conversation in a room with someone, I'm not going to be test, measuring and refining that. So that's probably one of the reasons.
Unless they just look at you like this.
Yeah, but I can do that in the moment and I can work that out. But so I find, so that lack of immediacy around the online stuff is a problem. So, okay, backtracking. Yes. Continue.
So I think that, like, from there, what we started doing was going, all right, let's go and have a look at how it's all laid out. Let's have a look at the sales page. And maybe, Joe, what you can do for the sake of the experiment or the conversation, and for those of you watching, like Kel and Jen, who are still watching live, and for those of you who are watching the replay, maybe we can put the links of the first page and then the link to the second page, just so that they can get that.
From contrast. That would be really, really useful.
I think that'd be really powerful. And I mean, look, the hope here is that you can see very, very clearly that on that first one is like, you know what, I probably wouldn't have actually signed up to go to this thing for whatever reason. And then you look at the second one, and the hope there is like, you know what, that's really freaking awesome. And now I understand what this is about. Yes, I'm a clinician. Yes, I want to be. Yes, I think that there's value in this and I can see it, and hopefully it talks directly to you and you can be like, yeah, cool, Joe, you know what, I need to be there. But I think that the next thing that we started doing was building out the revised sales page, which was still like I don't know if some of you saw the photo, my eyeballs were hanging out of my head. We were like typing. I'm like, okay, and then tell me a bit more about this, and then, you know, typing away. So I think that that's something that's also really probably an important thing to note, because you mentioned right earlier on, Joe, that this is what you do for other people.
Yes.
You ask really powerful questions.
Yes.
You get inside their head. What is it that you're trying to say? Okay, why don't you do this for me all the time? And you're like, blah, 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 blah.
That's exactly right, Joe.
I agree.
I agree. I am that awesome.
Let's just say that.
That's really hard and I was really hard on myself. Like, I really cut myself up on it going, but it's like you can't coach yourself. And I am still learning this stuff. It's not something I'm comfortable with. It's not something that I find easy. And I don't think it's a matter of just finding a better copywriter, because I've got a whole opinion about copywriters. They're great once you've learned how to do it yourself, and then you can delegate appropriately. Caveat.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I was getting so worked up around the things getting in my own way, which was, I've never done this well before. Nicola's so much better at it than me. Kelly didn't like it. If Kelly can't understand it, then nobody's got a chance. I worked so hard on it. I haven't got the time and energy to do this again. I'm a failure. So of course I'm just cycling. How on earth can I be creative, useful, and mature about revising my copy when I've got that sort of self-talk going on? Which is why having another person who's got some expertise in it is helpful. Thank you, Nicola. I just want to pause on something as well. I think too often we think that this should be easy and it should take us half an hour. We spent 6 hours just on this sales page. Seriously, there was a lot of coffee. At times, there was a bit of frustration for me. At times, Nicola's fingers got sore because she did all the typing. But I had expected to walk out of there with a sales page, with social media posts, with an email sequence over an 8-week period.
You didn't tell me that.
No, I know. Because I very quickly learned that ain't gonna happen. So when people kind of go, that's easy, just throw up a sales page, and I'm hoping that Kelly's laughing at this, is like, no. That's not something that you just delegate to some VA somewhere going, can you create me a sales page on this? Because it's never, ever going to reflect what you know and who you are. So that took us 6 hours, and we had to come back and do some work on it. Yeah. It wasn't finished in 6 hours, and then we had all the integration, which was the awesome Sophie's job. I think you helped with that. We still weren't happy with the image. And that was 6 hours. So, and keeping in mind, people had already done this once.
Yeah.
So, okay.
We had some of the bones there, you know, that we could kind of pull over. And I think really at the end of the day, the thing that all of your, particularly if it's around a specific event or a specific product or a specific program or a specific offer, the thing that we've got to remember at all times is that people at the end of the day want to know what problems are being solved as part of it. We want to know, and we did this kind of on the fly. I wasn't taking notes to this, but I said to Joe, what are all of the reasons or what are all of the questions that people are going to ask about this series? Is it live? Is it just the 2 days? Is it just the 8 weeks? Is the event mandatory? Do you have childcare? Is there parking? Do we get fed? Is there a guarantee? What else? I can't remember.
Is there coffee?
That should be the first question.
Yeah. Who is this for? So knowing that I really wanted to highlight for clinicians, but although the application is much broader than clinicians, that's what I'm incredibly passionate about. Then there's the will this work for me question. So will this work for me? Have you done this before?
Hang on a second. Will this work for me? How did we respond to that?
I can't. Oh, we talked about if you are a new graduate or a recently graduate, how this would work for you. If so, let's do it properly from the beginning. Why don't you have some of the professional development that veterans like me, wish we'd had? Yes. If you've been in practice for a really long period of time, will this work for me? Well, yes, because let's stop repeating the same cycles of behavior and sabotage and crap that's going on. You're allowed to enjoy your life now. If you're an employee, will this work for you? Yes, your boss is going to love you. If you're in solo practice, will this work for me? Yes, it's going to work for you because crap, it's hard. Our work is hard. This business stuff that we have to do on top of our work makes it harder. Anyone who tells you that private practice is simple, there are things that we can do to make it easier for ourselves. This series is one of them. Yeah. Because this was never around and it's still not around. And it's not. Well, yeah, because I coach people all the time on how to build their practice. And this is the thing I wish they knew before they started working with me. This is the stuff I have to teach. People come to me going, I need to learn how to do online marketing. So I sell them online marketing. What I have to teach them is this stuff first. Exactly. Because I have to get their heads out. I'm poking. I have to get their heads out of the way. I can't do my preacher walk. I have to get people's heads out of the way, their mind, the crap beliefs, the unhelpful beliefs out of the way before we can even start getting to the marketing. So why I'm so clear in this sales page, and I wouldn't let you take it out, is you don't need another marketing hack. No, you seriously don't. There are that's where all the free, cheap, and easy information is. It's in the next marketing hack. The reason why your marketing hacks aren't working is because you're not using your own superpower, which is you. So let's do that and stop being scared of that. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. My superpower is telling it how it is and pushing the bruise and uncovering the truth, just in case anyone is wondering. Exactly, which is why we love you. Exactly why we love you. Awesome. So we had those questions down the bottom, and I think they were probably the most powerful ones I think that we could have in there, because the thing that we want to answer throughout all of our marketing, whether it's a sales page, whether it's an offer or anything like that with you pitching, it's like, well, what are the things that people have got rattling around in the back of their heads that are going to stop them from making a decision or hold them back or delay making a decision around whether or not they should enroll or buy or take you up on your services. So if we can, I'm, as you know, Joe, I'm a huge fan of being as completely transparent. Yeah. With everything. I would much rather, the whole entire process, have every question answered before anyone makes a decision, which I know you're an advocate for that too. So we've got a laundry list of down the bottom to address that. So I think that was pretty much the abridged, half-hour version of our 6-hour process. But I think the thing that I really love about what you're doing with this, and I've been in a room with you, I've
you know, I've known you since 2011, known you for a long time, and I know the amazing work that you do and the transformations that people experience. And I think it would be really cool if you could just remind everyone of who this is for,
mm-hmm.
what the outcomes are as part of this, and why they should be in the room.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It is the Success Masterclass series, which is actually 8 weeks of coaching and support and community, which is delivered online following a 2-day in the room event. Yes, you have to be in the 2-day in the room event to make all the other stuff make sense. Why? Because that's the way I've designed it and I know it works. Can I run this online? Probably, but not this year. Just putting that out there. I want to see people in the room because, like I said before, I'm really good at listening to the non-verbal behaviors. And transformation will happen. If you speak to anybody who has worked through this with me before, they'll tell you that they left changed and in a good way. Okay. So the whole point of this is to help clinicians get out of their own way so they can experience their definition of success every single day. Doesn't mean you've achieved all your goals, doesn't mean that you're financially free, but it means that you are much clearer about why you're doing what you're doing and how you need to organize your life, because that's what we do, to actually achieve that stuff. Yeah. One of the things that we definitely walk away with is a much better sense of who you are and how that is your superpower. Because I am sick and tired of clinicians doing clinician speak, because the only other people who understand clinician speak are other clinicians, and unless you're marketing to other clinicians, clinician speak isn't helpful. Most of us are not marketing to other clinicians, therefore nobody cares if you're CBT, DBT, ACT, EFT trained. Nobody flipping cares. So what is your superpower? And to be able to say it with all integrity and authenticity and transparency, knowing. So basically, if you need tech integration help, don't come to me. That is not my superpower. I know people who have it as a superpower. It's not mine. So we're going to stop the boom bust cycle. We're just going to stop it because it's not helpful. And it's actually, every time you do the bust, it's actually making it harder for you to boom again. It's a pattern of fatigue. It's an endemic problem. I know about this stuff because I actually have created a fatigue management program in my other business. So listen to me, I'm an expert in that. We're going to put together a plan so that you actually never have to fear burnout again. It stops even being an issue because you know you are doing all the right. And this isn't about getting a pedicure every week either, people. That's not self-care. That's nice. That's a great reward, but that's not how we care for ourselves in this work. And we're going to position you as an expert without the clinician speak, giving you the freedom to be able to talk to your clients the way they can understand you. So that is in marketing speak, message, market, match. The thing I did so poorly in my first sales page was there was no message, market, match. There was Joe verbal vomit on a page, hoping that everybody understood what I meant. And a little bit too much clinician speak. Yes. So you come into the room for 2 days, and then the reason why we have 8 weeks afterwards is if you've ever been to an event where you've had a really awesome experience and you go, oh, I hope I remember this for the rest of my life. But you don't, because there's no embedding. There's just no embedding. So that following 8 weeks is all about when this stuff turns up in your life, how we're going to fix it using the new knowledge and skills that you have about yourself. So how does your personality predict your behavior? How does your behavior manifest itself? And how is it keeping you safe? Not successful, safe. So that's why it's 8 weeks, because then we've got new behavior change, which is where transformation actually really occurs. Yeah. See, if I could speak it, I could be fine. It's when I have to type it that I get all tied up in knots. Well, I used to, but I'm learning. Work in progress.
Hashtag learning.
Thank you.
So for those of you who want to be in the room and then follow up with the 8 week, well, it's not optional, like to join the Masterclass series, what do they need to do, Jo? Where do they go?
Well, there's an event on my Facebook page. Look, right, yeah, that's where it is right now.
Yeah, didn't tell you I was going to ask you that. Sorry.
Thanks for that. So there's an event, because this was not supposed to be about selling the event, but woohoo! There's an event on the Facebook page, right?
Right.
There is links all over the Facebook page. There'll be links in the Facebook post that this comes out as today, because we didn't make Facebook Live work, or you can message me and go, Jo, I really want to know about this. Can you please share the information with me? You can't quite find it on my website yet, because we're a bit technically challenged in that department, but yeah, there's no reason why you can't say, Jo, I'd love to know more.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy. But Nicola, I really appreciate you doing that. I think that's really useful. But can you just give us 3 things that happen if we get this message market match wrong, and the consequences of that? You didn't know I was going to ask you that.
I did not know. Yeah. All right. Brilliant question. Okay. So if you get the message market match wrong, everything kind of snowballs into worseness. I didn't have a word for that. Your marketing doesn't work. You lose people. They go and look at your stuff, whether it's a video, whether it's a sales page, like we've talked about, whether it's a webinar, whatever. There just ends up being this massive disconnect. Mm-hmm. And people, it's not always a conscious thing that happens. It can be really unconscious. They just know that there's something not quite right. Yeah. So they bounce out. If it's a landing page, they bounce off. They're like, oh yeah, no, that's not me. Go. So you lose sales, you lose clients, you lose potential clients. You've got reputation management essentially that you need to deal with as well, because if people are misunderstanding you, then they're generally forming the wrong impression of you, which is really unfortunate, because you're great at what you do.
Yes.
Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. So that's one big thing. I think the second big thing around message market mismatch stuff, the consequence of that for you is also exactly what you were talking about before. It's this like smashing of your confidence, which can be like the waves coming in at, when it's coming into high tide. It's just like smash. There's another one. There's another kick. Oh, look, let's whip my own back again. And then that you mentioned around that boom bust cycle. It's like it can be hard to get back up again in that instance. You're talking about like energy, but also if you've taken a confidence hit, it can be really hard to get back up on the horse and have the courage and the bravery and tenacity to get out there and try again. So smash it to your confidence, reputation bouncing out. And then the third thing is really around the time factor of all of this time and energy that you're putting into trying to build your reputation and build your profile, build your presence, whether it's online or offline. Is if you're going to do it, then you need to do it properly, because otherwise you might as well just go and take up some boring hobby that you don't really want to do and go spend time doing that, because it's not going to work. Or you're going to attract the wrong audience, and then you're going to hate them, and that sucks. Well, you might not hate them, but it's not going to fool you. You probably will hate them.
Or yourself, because you feel like this is all I'm able to do. These are the only people interested. Yeah, these are the only people interested in my stuff, and yet these people don't light my fire, my passion fire, and So I think what I'm hearing there is if we get this wrong, we are actually not wrong, but if we're not willing to do the work to learn and improve, not judging myself too harshly today, that our reputation, so one of the biggest things that we fear is actually going to come true. We damage our reputation. We actually create mistrust. So people come and go, well, that's not what I thought she was about. Yeah. So every time they see something from us, they're inclined to bounce away and go, yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I don't think she's what I'm about. So there's and the right people aren't being attracted to you.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're doing all of this work trying to speak to the right people, but they're just not being attracted to us, because we're not making ourselves attractive to them. Yeah. So one of the things I always say is we need to be able to talk to our prospective clients in a way they can hear us.
Yes.
Which doesn't mean clinician speak.
No. We speak like a human.
Yeah. And we need to speak to them where they're at before they become clients. Anyway, that's Joe's 101 today. Nicola, I want to say a massive thank you. We've been at this for nearly an hour, although we did have a major range of technical difficulties to start with. We are now going to go and learn how to do Facebook Lives together because, we'll probably...
We need to know how to do that.
So all of you awesome people, Jen and Kelly and Beck, who came on the call and followed us over to Zoom, you are awesome. I thank you so much. I'm Jen and Kelly, thank you. And yes, I am a work in progress. My whole desire to do this today was to share something real and in the moment, regardless of the vulnerability factor for me.
I think we've done that well, just on a different platform.
Yes. So if you've got questions, there'll be, when I post this, there'll be the link to the landing pages so you can have a look, compare and contrast. I'll also give you some ways that you can contact Nicola. She's got this awesome thing happening at the moment. She's doing a digital, an audit. $97 and you end up with like a 20-page report at the end or something?
No, 5.
Okay. All right.
20 pages of blank pages.
Okay. 5 is better than 1 A4 page, but it's a really, really useful tool to help you understand where the gaps are into your message to market match. And she knows the stuff. So I'm going to put a link to that as well, because I think that's an incredibly useful and powerful tool. So thank you.
You were going to do that.
I know, because that's what live's all about. Thank you so much. We'll say goodbye now and probably go have some lunch.
Okay, bye. Thanks, everyone.